Woman tried to get my 14 years old and 7 years old sisters arrested for taking out the trash. This happened today while me, 20F, my mom, 39, and 2 sisters, 14 and 7, were cleaning out our yard. For context, we live in a smaller older-looking house on a relatively gentrified street with a lot of small to medium-sized, but high-end apartment buildings. It's still the same neighborhood despite them being 3 to 5-story buildings with underground parking, so we have 2 big metal dumpsters in the neighborhood, one at the start of the neighborhood and one near the end. We live near the middle of the neighborhood, so my mom decided to just request a private bin from the government to place outside our own gate, as to not have to walk too much to throw away our trash when we are busy. Well, let's just say that after 5 years of rough treatment from the government waste collection company, it gave its last service and we had to request a replacement, which will take a few days. In the meantime, we had to take turns walking to the dumpsters on either side to throw our trash. It's never a problem and shouldn't be because it's all of our taxes that pay for waste collection anyway. My mom sent both of my sisters to throw a bag of yard cuttings to any of the dumpsters, and they decided to go to the one near the start of the neighborhood for once. It's alright, my mom says okay and stays near the gate to keep an eye on them while I continue to clean the porch. A few minutes later, I can hear my mom start yelling, then running in the direction that my sisters went in, and I nearly died thinking something horrible happened, so I followed her. At the start of the neighborhood were my sisters, near the dumpster that was off to the side of the building, and a woman was full on screaming at them from her second-floor balcony with her husband just watching from the sliding door. I couldn't hear what the woman was saying as of yet, but I did hear when my mom started tearing a lady a new one from in front of my sisters when she got there. My mom is a bit of a hothead, and while I am too, she tends to make irrational decisions more, and her English begins to slip up. English is her second language, which makes it hard to get points across or understood. So as usual, I walk up and take over and tell her to calm down while I deal with the Karen. My mom was pulled back my sisters to the other side of the road, and I looked up to look at the dumbass on the second floor. Me, what in the world are you saying, ma'am? Lady, you can't throw your trash there. I am going to give you the fucking trash collection bill. Me, ma'am, this is a public neighborhood dumpster. Lady, I pay to live in this neighborhood and for this trash collection. You can't throw your shit in there unless you pay for it to be picked up. At this point, I'm utterly confused on whether she was stupid and didn't see the big fat government stamp painted on all sides of the dumpster. Me, ma'am, we live in this neighborhood too. She then makes the mistake of ignoring me and looking towards my sisters at the other side of the street and begins to yell her head off. Lady, both of you take the trash you threw out of the dumpster. Now. Now or I am calling the fucking police. My sisters are 7 and 14. She wanted to call the police on them, which immediately set my mom off again. I was quite irritated. Mom, shut up. I am there MLM, you talk to me or you haul us back into your apartment. Me, ma, go home. But this lady is just absolutely screaming and pulls out her cell phone, repeating that she's going to call the police and make us pay for trash collection. I immediately lost my patience. Me, call them then. Get it over with. Call them and tell them that you want them to arrest a 14-year-old and 7-year-old for throwing trash in the dumpster. The lady seemed taken back, but began directing this at me again. Lady, I'll have them lock you all up. You're polluting the neighborhood and dumping trash when you don't pay for the service. Take the trash out of the dumpster before I come break all your faces. Me, you don't pay the waste company either. Call the police and tell them all of this. Do it before I do. That made the husband finally step in and he pulled her back into the apartment while she still screamed. He came outside by himself while we heard crashing and slamming inside the apartment. Husband, you don't have to take the trash back out of the dumpster, just don't do it again. That made me even more irritated, but I took a few deep breaths. Me, why can't I throw trash here? In the public neighborhood dumpsters? Funded by my tax dollars, just the same as it's funded by yours? The man had the audacity to snort and shake his head. Man, I know about your people, sweetheart, don't lie to us. It clicked on what the fuck the both of them were insinuating. Me, you piece of absolute shit. Do not pretend to know anything about me or my family whatsoever. Keep in mind that this is at like 10 a.m. on a Monday, and the street was not empty. So, the few people going about their business had been stunned by the argument, and a neighbor had already called the police about a public disturbance. The police drive a huge expensive Ford truck that they spend all their money on to get, because of course they did, this a developing country after all. And boy did that whole story that me, my family, the crazy bitch and her husband, and a few neighbors had to recount did not go well for the crazy bitch. Especially when they had to step into the apartment building manager's office to review the security footage, which made go even worse for the crazy bitch and husband, because the apartment manager was appalled and didn't say a single word to anyone other than the police until she slipped aside and called the owner of the building. Let's just say that my 14 and 7-year-old sisters did not end up taking an air-conditioned ride in the back seat of the police Ford to the station to be charged with threats against a minor and public disturbance, and neither did they get an immediate eviction notice for breaking of their lease agreement, while their wife went off to solidify her criminal record, screaming at police officers. People really be batshit crazy nowadays. Now let's look at the comments. Racism is so ugly and utterly unjustified. According to science, we are all one race. There is no difference, except cosmetic. How stupid do you have to be not to believe in the truth? Especially dumb for screaming at children. Ugh. You handled that so well. It's hard to keep a calm head against someone verbally attacking you, even more so when they seem like they might become physical too. I'm so happy to hear the police were called after all and that these people got what was coming.